We installed security cameras to catch my sister's stalker ex. What we saw next left us terrified and running for our lives. My husband's ex-girlfriend is making our lives miserable, and now she's gone completely off the rails. We had to involve the police because she crossed all boundaries. Let me give you some background so you can understand why I'm calling her crazy. I met Sebastian, 32M, at a local coffee shop where I was a regular. He caught my eye immediately, tall, dark-haired, with kind brown eyes that crinkled when he smiled. We started chatting over lattes, and I learned he was recently divorced. Sebastian was upfront about his past, which I appreciated. He told me his ex, Annie, 34F, had made the divorce difficult, but he was ready to move on. We took things slow, getting to know each other over coffee dates and walks in the park. Sebastian was funny, intelligent, and genuinely interested in my life and work as a freelance graphic designer. After 6 months of dating, we decided to make it official. That's when the trouble started. Annie somehow found out about our relationship and started sending Sebastian constant messages. She'd call at all hours, leaving long voicemails about how they were meant to be together. Sebastian tried to reason with her at first, explaining that their relationship was over, but nothing seemed to get through. As our relationship grew stronger, Annie's behavior became more erratic. She'd show up at Sebastian's workplace, causing scenes that left him embarrassed and stressed. He considered changing jobs, but I encouraged him to stand his ground. We shouldn't let her control our lives. Sebastian eventually told me more about his history with Annie. They'd met in college and dated for 5 years before getting married. At first, things were great. They shared similar interests in outdoor activities and traveling. But after the wedding, Annie's behavior changed dramatically. She became possessive, constantly accusing Sebastian of cheating. She'd check his phone, monitor his social media, and even followed him to work a few times to make sure he wasn't meeting other women. The final straw came when Annie falsely accused Sebastian's female coworker of having an affair with him. She showed up at their office, screaming and making a scene. Sebastian was mortified and realized he couldn't continue in the marriage. He filed for divorce shortly after. Despite Annie's attempts to drag out the process, the divorce was finalized after a year. Sebastian thought that would be the end of it, but Annie refused to accept reality. She continued to contact him, insisting they were soulmates who would eventually reconcile. When Sebastian and I got engaged after 2 years of dating, we decided to keep it low-key. We didn't post anything on social media, and only told close friends and family. I understood Sebastian's caution, given his history with Annie. Our wedding was a small, intimate affair at a beautiful chapel just outside the city. It was perfect, just us, our closest loved ones, and the promise of a future together. We felt on top of the world. But our happiness was short-lived. Somehow, Annie found out about the wedding. She started bombarding both of us with messages. To me, she wrote things like, "You'll never make him happy like I did and he's only using you to make me jealous." To Sebastian, she alternated between pleading for him to come back and threatening to reveal supposed secrets about him. We tried our best to ignore her, blocking her numbers and social media accounts. But Annie was relentless. She created new profiles to contact us, used her friends' phones to call, and even sent letters to our home address. The situation came to a head last week. I was working from home when I heard a commotion outside. I looked out the window to see Annie standing in our front yard, screaming my name. She was holding something in her hand that I couldn't quite make out. Terrified, I called Sebastian at work and then dialed 911. As I was on the phone with the dispatcher, I heard a loud crash. Looking out again, I saw that Annie had smashed one of our car's windows with a baseball bat she'd brought. The police arrived quickly and arrested Annie for trespassing and property damage. Sebastian rushed home, looking pale and shaken. We spent the rest of the day talking to the police and filling out paperwork for a restraining order. Now, we're left dealing with the aftermath. Our sense of safety has been shattered. Sebastian is consumed with guilt, feeling responsible for bringing this chaos into my life. But I don't blame him. We're in this together, and we'll face whatever comes next as a team. We're taking steps to protect ourselves. We've installed security cameras around the house and changed all our locks. We're also considering moving to a new neighborhood where Annie won't know our address. I'm sharing this story because I need advice. How do we move forward from here? Has anyone dealt with a similar situation? I want to support Sebastian and strengthen our relationship, but I'm also scared about what Annie might do next. Any suggestions would be greatly appreciated. Update when it's been a month since my last post, and I wanted to update you all on our situation. First, I want to thank everyone for their advice and support. It's been incredibly helpful during this stressful time. We've had some developments, both good and bad. The good news is that the restraining order against Annie was granted. She's not allowed to come within 500 feet of us, our home, or our workplaces. She's also prohibited from contacting us in any way, no calls, texts, emails, or social media messages. The bad news is that Annie doesn't seem to be taking the restraining order seriously. We've had to call the police twice in the past month because she violated it. The first time, she showed up at Sebastian's office. Thankfully, the receptionist recognized her from a photo Sebastian had shared with the staff and called security before she could reach Sebastian's floor. Annie left before the police arrived, but it was still a violation of the order. The second time was more disturbing. We were out for dinner at our favorite restaurant when we spotted Annie sitting at the bar, watching us. We immediately left and called the police. They arrived quickly, but Annie had already disappeared. These incidents have left us feeling on edge. We're constantly looking over our shoulders, wondering when she'll pop up next. Sebastian is stressed and barely sleeping. He's considering taking a leave of absence from work to avoid putting his colleagues at risk. On a more positive note, we've been working on strengthening our relationship amid all this chaos. We've started having regular date nights at home, where we cook dinner together and talk about our future plans. It's been a great way to reconnect and remind ourselves why we're fighting so hard to protect our life together. We've also been exploring couples activities that can help us de-stress. We've taken up yoga and started going on weekend hikes. Being out in nature, away from the city where Annie might be lurking, has been incredibly therapeutic for both of us. Sebastian has opened up more about his past with Annie. He told me about their college days, how they met in a psychology class and bonded over their shared love of true crime documentaries. Ironically, Sebastian now feels like he's living in one of those documentaries. He shared some happy memories too, road trips they took, holidays with each other's families. It made me realize how complex their history is, and how difficult it must be for Sebastian to see someone he once loved turn into this unrecognizable, threatening presence in our lives. Sebastian also revealed something that shocked me. Apparently, during their marriage, Annie had hacked into his email account and sent messages to his female friends and colleagues, pretending to be him. She wrote inappropriate things that caused several of Sebastian's friendships to end. He only found out after they separated, when one of his friends finally confronted him about the messages. This revelation made me understand why Sebastian was so hesitant to use social media or share details about our relationship online. It also made me even more determined to protect our privacy and our relationship from Annie's interference. We've taken some additional security measures. We've changed our routines, varying the times we leave for work and the routes we take. We've also started using a secure messaging app for all our communications, just in case Annie tries to hack our accounts. One unexpected positive outcome of this situation is the support we've received from our friends and family. Sebastian's parents, who initially were hesitant about our relationship because of how quickly it developed after his divorce, have been incredibly supportive. They've even offered to let us stay with them for a while if we feel unsafe in our home. My best friend, Sarah, has been a rock throughout all of this. She's been staying with us a few nights a week, providing moral support and an extra set of eyes to watch for any suspicious activity. We're also considering adopting a dog. We think having a pet might provide some additional security, plus it would be nice to have a furry friend to comfort us during this stressful time. Despite all the precautions and support, I still have moments of doubt and fear. Sometimes I wonder if our relationship is strong enough to withstand this constant pressure. But then I look at Sebastian, see the love and determination in his eyes, and I know we can get through this together. We're taking it one day at a time, focusing on the positives and supporting each other. We're determined not to let Annie's actions define our relationship or our future. I'll keep you all updated on any significant developments. Again, thank you for your support and advice. It means more than you know. Update 2: It's been 3 months since my last update, and I wish I had better news to share. Despite the restraining order and our best efforts to move on with our lives, Annie has escalated her behavior in ways we never expected. About a month ago, Sebastian and I decided to take a weekend getaway to a nearby beach town. We needed a break from the stress and thought a change of scenery would do us good. We were careful not to post anything about our trip on social media and only told a few trusted friends about our plans. On the second day of our trip, we returned to our hotel room to find it completely trashed. Clothes were strewn everywhere, our personal items were scattered across the floor, and the word "mine" was written in lipstick on the mirror. We were horrified. Hotel security footage showed Annie entering our room using a key card. We later found out she had somehow convinced the front desk staff that she was Sebastian's wife who had surprised him for their anniversary. They gave her a key without verifying her identity. We immediately called the police and cut our trip short. Annie was arrested for breaking the restraining order and vandalism, but she was released on bail within 24 hours. The incident left us feeling violated and unsafe, even in places far from home. After this, we decided we needed to take more drastic measures. We've put our house on the market and are planning to move to a different city. Sebastian has found a job opportunity in his field about 3 hours away, and I can continue my freelance work from anywhere. It's a big step, but we feel it's necessary for our safety and peace of mind. The decision to move hasn't been easy. We love our home and the life we've built here. Leaving our friends and familiar surroundings feels like letting Annie win in a way. But we're trying to reframe it as a fresh start, an opportunity to build a new life together without the shadow of Annie hanging over us. In the meantime, we've hired a private investigator to help us understand how Annie keeps finding information about us. The BI discovered that Annie had been paying a friend who works at Sebastian's company for information about his schedule and our plans. This friend has since been fired, and we're considering legal action against them as well. The stress of the situation has taken its toll on both of us. Sebastian has been having nightmares and has started seeing a counselor to work through his feelings of guilt and anxiety. I've been throwing myself into work, taking on extra projects to keep my mind occupied. We've also had some difficult conversations about our future. Sebastian has expressed concern about having children while Annie is still a threat in our lives. It's something we both want eventually, but we agree that now isn't the right time. It's hard to put our plans on hold because of someone else's actions, but we know it's the responsible decision. On a more positive note, we did end up adopting a dog. His name is Max, and he's a 3-year-old German Shepherd mix. He's been a wonderful addition to our family, providing comfort and a sense of security. Plus, training and caring for him has given us a shared project to focus on besides our Annie problems. We're in the process of planning our move now. It's bittersweet, exciting to think about a new beginning, but sad to leave behind the life we've built here. We're being extremely careful about who we tell about our plans. Only our immediate family and a couple of very close friends know the details. I'll admit, there are moments when I wonder if this will ever truly be over. Will we always be looking over our shoulders, waiting for Annie to reappear? But then I look at Sebastian and Max, at the life we're building together despite everything, and I feel hopeful. We're stronger together, and we won't let Annie's actions define our future. Thank you all again for your support and advice. I'll update again once we've moved and settled into our new home. Wish us luck. Update 3. It's been 6 months since our move, and I wanted to give you all a final update on our situation. A lot has changed, and I'm happy to say that most of it has been for the better. Our new home is in a quiet suburb of a city about 3 hours from where we used to live. It's a lovely house with a big backyard that Max absolutely loves. Sebastian has settled into his new job and is really enjoying the change of pace. I've managed to keep most of my clients despite the move and have even picked up a few new ones in our new area. The best news is that we haven't had any contact from Annie since we moved. It seems that the distance and our increased security measures have finally given us the peace we've been seeking. We're cautiously optimistic that this chapter of our lives might finally be closing. That's not to say it's been all smooth sailing. The first few months were challenging as we adjusted to our new surroundings. We were both on high alert, jumping at every unexpected sound and constantly checking our security cameras. It took time for us to relax and start feeling truly at home. Sebastian continued with his counseling, which has been incredibly helpful. He's working through his feelings about Annie and the impact her actions have had on our lives. He's also learning to let go of the guilt he felt about bringing this situation into my life. Seeing him work so hard on his mental health has only made me love and respect him more. We've made some new friends in the neighborhood, though we're still cautious about how much we share about our past. It's nice to have people in our lives who only know us as we are now, without the shadow of our history with Annie. Max has been a fantastic addition to our family. He's fully trained now and has become a beloved member of the community. Taking him for walks has been a great way for us to meet our neighbors and feel more connected to our new home. One unexpected positive outcome of this whole ordeal is how much it strengthened our relationship. Going through such a difficult experience together has deepened our bond and our commitment to each other. We've learned to communicate better, to lean on each other during tough times, and to appreciate the quiet moments of happiness we share. We recently celebrated our 2nd wedding anniversary. Instead of dwelling on the difficulties of the past year, we focused on how far we've come and the future we're building together. We even started tentatively discussing the possibility of starting a family in the near future, something that felt impossible just a few months ago. Of course, we're not naive. We know that Annie could potentially find us again someday. But we're no longer living in fear of that possibility. We've put strong security measures in place, and we're confident in our ability to handle whatever comes our way. I want to thank everyone who's followed our story and offered support and advice along the way. Your kindness has meant more than you know. While I hope never to have to post about a situation like this again, I'm grateful for the community I found here during a very difficult time. To anyone who might be going through a similar situation, I want to offer a message of hope. It may not feel like it now, but things can get better. Stay strong, lean on your support system, and don't be afraid to take big steps to protect your peace and happiness. As for us, we're looking forward to our future, a future that's ours to shape, free from the chaos of the past. Thank you all, and take care.